Okay, to get started with my cilantro lime rice, I am going to use some lime zest. Here I've already started by slicing off large chunks of the exterior of the lime. And you don't have to do that. You can definitely use a zester, but I'm making this for my family and they're not big fans of eating lime zest. So what I'm doing here is removing the pith, which is the white part from the zest. I don't want that because it's very bitter. So if you are going to use this method of using the lime zest, you might want to remove the pith because, again, you don't want any bitterness to this. You only want the zest, which is very aromatic. Here I've already have several pieces of the zest that I'll be using. Now I'm going to slice this lime and squeeze out the fresh juice, and ultimately it will give me a couple tablespoons of this. Now with this rice recipe, it depends on your taste and preference. If you want more lime, add more lime juice to the broth that I'll be using. Now, another thing is I like to add my lime juice while the rice is cooking, but I do know some people like to add it after. I find that it works fine if you use it during the cooking process. But if you want more of a fresh squeezed lime taste, add it after the rice is cooked. Okay, so I'm also going to be using cilantro. That is one of the main ingredients. Now you have to ask yourself, do you want some cilantro with your rice or rice with your cilantro? The amount is up to you. I actually have cilantro that needs to be used and I don't have much, so that's just what I'm going to use today. And honestly, even if I had a big fresh green bunch of cilantro, I don't use a lot. It's just personal preference, but it definitely is up to you. So I picked off the leaves from the stems and now I'm chopping them, and this is what I'm going to add to this batch of rice. Now, I am also going to use some chicken broth, and here I have some Knorr chicken bouillon powder that I like to use, and I have 2 cups of water. Now I'm only going to add 2 teaspoons to this 2 cups of water, but if you are using a more natural selection or a low sodium variety of chicken broth, you might need to adjust the salt in this dish, but Knorr bouillon powder is very salty, so this is why I'm not adding any extra salt. Next, I will also be using 2 cloves of minced garlic. Again, if you like more garlic, add more. 2 cloves works fine. I'm also adding some onion. I just had a quarter of a large onion and I'm going to slice that in half. I'm only using half of this quarter of a large onion. I will be putting the weighed measurements and ingredients used in this recipe to give you a better idea of what I'm using. So here is my chopped onion, I would guess around a 1/3 cup, and here are my 2 minced cloves of garlic. Now I'm also going to be using 1 fresh scallion, and that is optional, but I do like the aromatic and the flavor of scallion. I'm also using that lime zest, and again I will be using fresh cilantro. And I will be using the cilantro stems. I have some stems with leaves on it, but you don't want to discard them because there is tons of flavor in the cilantro stems, and this is going to be very aromatic while I'm cooking my rice. Okay, so now I'm ready to start making the rice. Here I have a preheated pan and I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of oil. I didn't measure that, but it's around 2 tablespoons. I'm using a grapeseed oil. You can use the oil of your choice. And to that, I am now going to add 1 cup of rice. Now, the rice I'm using today is a medium grain rice because I have bags and bags of Korean medium grain rice. It's what my husband buys. Okay, so now I'm just going to toast my rice. I'm using a medium heat and I'm just going to toast this until it starts getting golden brown. By the way, if you want to pre-wash or rinse your rice to remove extra starch, or you feel like it's filmy, it's dirty, do so. But I'm going to be honest, guys. I don't wash my rice all the time and it comes out okay, but you know, you do you. I definitely think pre-washing the rice will give you a fluffier rice, so that's something to bear in mind, but right now I didn't pre-wash it. So at this point my rice is toasted, so now I'm going to add my onion. I will also add the garlic and I'm going to saute those for a minute, and again I'm using a medium heat. I'm not using a high heat because I don't want things to burn Oops, and I just dropped that right into the pan. It happens. So again, I'm going to continue sauteing the onion and garlic, and then I am going to add my lime zest. I'm not going to scorch it or burn it, but I do sort of want to warm it through to get things permeating into the rice, because that's the point of the zest. It's to give you that lime aromatic, perfumey flavor of the lime. Okay, so now everything is toasted, sauteed, and warmed through. So now I'm going to add my chicken broth. And again, if you are using a more natural selection of chicken broth, you can definitely adjust the salt in this. And another tip, I've had cilantro lime rice where it has no chicken broth in it. It's basically water and salt, and you can definitely do that. Add 2 cups of water and salt and season to your preference. But I like the flavor of chicken broth, and so does my family. So that's why I use it. Okay, so that is added to the pot, and before I forget, I am also going to add those aromatics, that scallion. I'm going to cut that right in half and put it in there along with the cilantro. And again, these stems, you don't have to eat it, but it's definitely another aromatic, and it lends and gives tons of flavor to this rice. So next I am going to add that fresh squeezed lime juice. And again, you can definitely add that after the rice is done to give you more of that pop of fresh lime flavor. But this is just how I do it out of convenience, and it really does turn out delicious, but it's up to you. So I'm adding my 2 tablespoons of fresh squeezed lime juice, and just going to give that a quick mix, not too much there. And now I'm going to bring my rice to a simmering boil. By the way, please be sure to check the description below for all the ingredients and measurements used in this recipe. So once my rice comes up to a simmering boil, I am then going to cover it with a lid. Now you want to make sure you work with a pan that has a fitting lid. Then I'm going to lower the heat, and I am going to allow this to cook covered at a low simmer for around 15 to 18 minutes. Okay, so after the rice is cooked, I'm going to shut off the heat, and I'm not lifting the lid. I'm going to set it and allow it to just set with the lid on for around 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, so once the rice is done setting for around 5 to 10 minutes, I'm going to remove the lid, and gosh, it smells so good in here. Now I'm going to discard all of the aromatics. I'm going to remove the lime zest, the cilantro, and the scallions. And there's actually nothing wrong with eating it. It's just no one's going to eat it. So if you are someone like me, if I could eat this rice, I would be eating all of that. I don't even care because it tastes so good. But I'm serving this to my kid and my husband, and they just don't prefer it right now. Now, once all of that is removed, I am going to start adding the freshly chopped cilantro leaves, and I'm going to fluff up the rice. So all I'm going to do is basically start fluffing it up, and then I'm going to start folding in that cilantro that I chopped up. And that's pretty much all there is to this rice. It's so delicious. And at this point, you can definitely squeeze some more lime juice if you want that pop of fresh lime juice. It's all up to you, and it's so delicious. I'm actually going to be serving this with some chicken enchiladas today, so definitely be on the lookout for that recipe video. I made some delicious, cheesy chicken enchiladas, all courtesy inspired by my sister Moni. So anyways, here is my rice. I hope you guys give this recipe a try. I hope you like it, and thanks for watching.